The most defining moment of the century could easily be the outbreak of COVID-19. 2020 marked that unprecedented break in the Indian and world economies. Major Indian companies either suspended or reduced their operations. Overall, India's GDP shrank to 7.3% in 2021, which was the worst performance of the Indian economy in any year. People and businesses were struggling owing to the disrupted fund flow and were looking for financial support to maintain their businesses. It was in this situation that Richmax was launched at the height of COVID-19. This was a strategic move, choosing this perfect moment to launch Richmax, the brainchild of Advocate George John Vallath, who with over 20 years of frontline experience in the financial industry, indicated a larger financial vision. It was a daring move, going against the grain of conventional wisdom. Advocate George John Vallath has had over 2 decades of exposure to the Indian financial industry. Since setting up Richmax a little over a year ago, he has steered the company amidst the COVID-19 crisis with counterintuitive wisdom, having rapidly expanded and set up 30 branches across Kerala. One of his key philosophies is to build businesses around local needs and scale up, benefiting everyone associating with the company. Chairman and Managing Director Advocate George John Vallath is ably aided by his CEO, Mr. Manikandan S.V., who brings in decades of domain experience. Mr. Manikandan drives day-to-day operations with unmatched passion and vision. There's an estimated 25,000 tons of household gold in India, out of which NBFCs have been able to monetize approximately 500 tons only.
Stock market seeing a lot of volatility due to various global shocks, which was first the global pandemic and then the the war crisis and many other volatility in terms of also the crude oil price hikes, and so the stock market has been subject to various cycles. So therefore in this context, I think gold is a very safe investment for the middle class in India, especially in India, since we also have this passion for gold jewelry. A lot of the Indian women we feel incomplete without the gold jewelry. So therefore, there's a lot of investment in gold by the middle and the upper middle class in India. So and even to a large extent the lower middle class also. So therefore, at this context, whenever when the globe is still recovering from shocks one after the other, I think gold is a safe bet for all middle class Indians to actually hedge against for liquidity support to survive this crisis. And gold will remain as one of the investment options for the Indian middle class for times to come. I don't think that will go, even if the jewelry of gold will go out of fashion, but still for investment purposes, I think the Indian mindset will still, Indian middle class will still continue to invest in gold. So gold is here to stay in India.
There's a huge opportunity for gold loan NBFCs to significantly grow the business. Given the power of gold to drive our economy, Richmax sees extraordinary opportunity in monetizing the physical gold lying particularly with rural and semi-urban households who own the larger part of the stock. Generally, gold loan NBFCs essentially cater to the bottom of the pyramid. Gold loans are mostly used by farmers, micro-entrepreneurs and shopkeepers for seasonal requirements of working capital or urgent requirements that banks may not help out with. A significant portion of gold loans is used by MSMEs for short-term working capital requirements. This ties in with Richmax's plans to power Kerala's services and MSME sectors, the 2 sectors that can recharge the state's economy and income. Richmax has 5 verticals under its wings: Richmax Marketing and Consultancy, Richmax NEETHU Limited, Richmax Gold and Jewelry, Richmax NBFC, and Richmax Integrated Foundation. So the company provides an array of financial products such as gold loans, property loans, easy loans, vehicle loans, microfinance, personal loans, jewelry and EMI basis, and insurance. India thrives in gold. The gems and jewelry industry in India contributes about 6 to 7% of its GDP. Total sales in the last quarter of 2021 stood at 602 tons.
Indians generally have gold in their homes, and so therefore giving gold loans, I think this is the right time to enter the market as far as gold loans are concerned, because of the great liquidity crunch that the MSMEs are facing, and which could also actually complement or supplement the Government of India's approach through the banks and the collateral-free liquidity support that the government is giving through the banks.
Richmax plans to have 14 mini jewelry shops across the 14 districts of Kerala and one mega jewelry showroom in Kochi in the coming year under the brand name of Violet Jewellers. By 2030, Violet Jewellers aims to open 100 jewelry shops across the country. It is pertinent to note that cumulative FDI inflow in Kerala stood at $269.61 million between October 2019 and March 2021, while exports stood at $3.94 billion in financial year 2021. So there's a significant opportunity waiting to be tapped. Richmax has grown exponentially since the year of its inception in Kerala, with considerable exposure in the industry in the state.
Richmax is now an NBFC. We would be starting our operations across India. By having an NBFC, we would be giving more services by catering different products to all segments of customers pan-India.
As an NBFC, Richmax aims to have over 1,000 branches across the country, while also planning to become a small bank by 2040. The plan is to establish a microfinance business that will not only keep the owner's capital safe, but also ensure peace of mind for the customers and investors.
So the MSMEs have been supported greatly by the Government of India through various collateral-free credit support through the banks. So there has been a lot of infusion of credit from the banks, through the banks by the government, and there's a lot of intake by the MSMEs also for this. And but at the same time, they also faced a lot of liquidity crunch, and working capital requirements were huge. So the government was not really able to provide cater to all of the working capital needs. So that's where companies like yours can come in, and various NBFCs can come in and support these MSMEs. And the government is also adopting pro-NBFC stand, actually, pro-NBFCs and pro-microcredit approach. The Government of India's policies has been like that over the last couple of years. So we've seen a spate in the microfinance credit and also the credit through the NBFCs, and so there's going to be institutional support also given to NBFCs through the government, and also there is this new Ministry of Cooperation, where the cooperative banks will play a great role in actually reaching out the last mile MSMEs. So that's a huge gap area where the last mile MSMEs actually need support in working capital and liquidity support. So that's where NBFCs can play a very significant role.
Given the current macroeconomic conditions, both locally and globally, the finance industry, interestingly, is booming. For example, there's considerable demand for loans in the market, with people looking for monies to run their existing businesses or pump funds into new businesses. There's a high and perennial demand for loans in the Indian middle class sector. In fact, there's increasing evidence of more and more members of the middle class, lower middle class, moving into the upper middle class. This is clearly a function of upward financial mobility. They're all looking for a chance to restart their lives and businesses. And Richmax sees itself at that frontier of opportunity. As far as Kerala is concerned, it's pertinent to note that over 100,000 crore rupees has flowed into the state through overseas remittances in recent years. Today it's being forecast banks will cut interest rates further on customers' deposits. And you know what? There will perhaps come a day when banks will levy a service charge on customers' deposits. This also translates into possibilities of investors looking for newer avenues to park those funds. Naturally, this increases the pace of growth of NBFCs, driven equally by investor trust. Investors are being driven by a greater appetite for returns, an excellent indicator of future economic growth.
Richmax as an organization since the date of incorporation was able to grow aggressively in the Kerala market, by which showing a strong presence in the financial segment.
For investors, Richmax offers long-term stability and richer returns from a bouquet of opportunities across the country. Investors will have the backing of a company with 1,000 branches the long term across this country, with a gold loan portfolio of over ₹6,500 crore. As its founding ideal, Richmax is committed to investor security and peace of mind while ensuring absolute transparency in its processes and investments. Enrich the life of anyone who chose Richmax as a financial partner. For us, it's a long-term value that we create for our customers, partners and stakeholders that we value most. Warren Buffett once said, "Cash combined with courage in a time of crisis is priceless." It is precisely that what we chose to do when we set up Richmax at the height of the COVID-19 crisis and steered it to success.
Make sure people around you grow, because that is the secret of your growth.